Mowgli makes some animal friends and some animal enemies.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with Andre,
Michelle,
Emily,
And Luis.
We are a family-friendly podcast where each and every week we watch and review a different Disney movie. Be sure to subscribe on all podcast platforms and YouTube. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 125.
I need you guys to know that every time Andre goes, "Hello and welcome," he like puts his hands in the air like, "Hello." You guys can't see me,
Do I
but
do that every time?
Yeah.
You totally.
My hands always go up like this?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have your arms up
he
every
puts
time.
the button on the thing, and he goes,
Hello.
"Hello."
When the arm goes up.
That makes some sense. Okay.
It's very cute. It's like he's on stage doing his stand-up. He's ready to go. He's got the thing and.
Okay. I'll be more aware of that.
No, you better
Just
keep
eat my
doing it.
cookie right into the microphone.
Oh my gosh!
There you go.
Shout out to Michelle's mom. She just fed us.
We
on a
got some
whole-
ziti, and some salad, a rotisserie, and a cookie.
A rotisserie chicken.
Rotisserie.
Oh yeah, just a rotisserie.
Some
It was
metal spitting
baked
over some
ziti.
fire.
And a
Garlic
baked
bread?
ziti. Oh yeah, garlic bread, and there's some vanilla ice cream in the freezer.
Stop
cream.
it. She got us crumble cookies, and I think I'm in a sugar coma. Like,
Yeah, I'm pretty hyper right now.
I'm pretty sure
Oh, yeah.
my body's about to start doing really weird
We didn't even
things.
need coffee today.
I'm going to crash right around the 45-minute mark of this episode.
No.
Well, let's get to it because this is going to be a long-o, I
We
think.
originally in our past episode said we were going to do the animated Jungle Book. And then Emily texted us and was like, we might as well do a double feature because we might as well.
So we did. This
we
week,
did.
we are talking about
We
the
did.
1967 animated Disney film, The Jungle Book, and the 2016 live-action film, The Jungle Book.
Yes. So we'll go through the plots, which are basically the same for each, and we'll talk about a little bit of each and which one we liked better and what our qualms and quipes and gripes are.
Oh, my quipes.
Quipes. I like it.
That's a word.
Can't wait to tell you
So-
all about my quipes.
Let's do first impression of 67, Andre.
Wait, so we're going to go around both times? I can't just
No.
give you both?
You could do both at once. That's
Okay,
fine.
let me see.
67 and then 2016. Do it in chronological order.
67 Jungle Book, OG Jungle Book. I would say is it's a classic. It feels really good to watch. I love the music and the songs. And Baloo is awesome. And
Had
Louie
you
is
seen it
fun.
before?
Yes. Seen it many times.
Yeah, we've seen it quite a few times.
Quite a few times. I've always liked the Jungle Book. It's cool. And Shere Khan is scary. And for the 2016 version, we saw it in theaters.
We did.
But I think that's the only other time
In
that
the front row, and I fell asleep.
I've seen this. That's right. Michelle went night-night. She took a nippy nap.
I took a
Um,
real nipping nap.
But
I
I enjoyed it a lot. The 2016 version is directed by Jon Favreau.
Yes, it is.
Who you might know from directing Iron Man and after this movie, The Lion King. And also, he is
Some
the
Star Wars stuff.
show director for The Mandalorian on Disney+.
Dun, dun.
and he's happy.
I had to do this.
And
In-
he's happy
in the
in
Avengers and
Iron Man and the Avengers
Yeah.
and
Spider-Man and all that.
all of them's films. And that one I enjoyed a lot. I think that the live action is a pretty good adaptation, and the stuff that they add is good. And I think that especially the stuff they add for Shere Khan is really awesome.
Very
And he's
good.
he's an awesome villain in the
Nice.
live action.
I'm going to go next since we can kind of compare each other's and hop off each other. I 110% agree with you. Watching the 67 version upon this viewing, I enjoyed it probably even more than I did as a kid. It felt really good to watch one of these classic Disney movies. We haven't been there in a while. The songs are just, those are bops, man. It was a really good movie, and it made me very happy. And there was enough humor in it as well, like with the birds and stuff, where I was just like, wow, it felt like a good classic Disney movie, and it made me really happy.
Yeah.
I was very thrilled to watch it. Y'all, we've talked about this before. The reason I haven't wanted to do this movie is because I knew we were going to do a double feature, and I didn't want to watch the live action because when I saw it in the theater, I didn't like it. And I didn't like it for big monkey reasons.
Big monkey
And
reasons.
And other things too, like I didn't really enjoy Ka being a girl and like different things like this. But
Scarlet, get out of there.
I just
Get outta
remember
here,
being
Black
like,
Widow.
that movie wasn't good. But I also fell asleep for most of it. So it was kind of hard to say. What happened was I got a beer and then I took a nippy nap in the movies. Okay.
This is what happens when you go to a luxury theater.
So upon this viewing,
Where'd you guys go, Riverbank?
Yeah.
that's a luxury theater,
They got
man.
the
I
pull-out
went in
seats.
too. I
They
was like,
serve
"Oh, we
the-
got a cocktail. We got a
They got
hot
alcohol.
dog."
We probably got dinner too.
I
Yeah.
think the last time I went to that was on a date with the person that I dated before Louise.
Oh, really?
Oops. My alcohol is
cocktail.
Stop it.
How we like it.
He just sang through that whole admission.
Yeah.
So
Good.
it was interesting because when Emily texted me, I thought I was gonna be more upset. Like, I want to.
I was really surprised she wrote back and was, or did you write
I
back
wrote
on
back
her?
first.
And he was
I
like,
think
yeah,
I-
sounds great.
I think I said that's fine. like,
was
that
like,
was
oh,
it.
man,
That's
she's
fine!
mad.
Exclamation point. I will take back some things I've said. The movie is good. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching the live action. I love that they added a villain perspective more for Shere Khan. I love villain backstories, but I stand by the monkey badness. So we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Emily, first impressions.
Okay, so this is literally a first impression for me. I've never seen the animated version,
Oh.
which is bizarre.
I forgot that you haven't.
Yeah, I realized that that's bizarre. But literally,
But you know the songs. That's
I
interesting.
do.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's
Well,
hard
they play
growing
that.
up being
hard to
like
not
a
know the
choir kid,
Yeah.
They
loving
play
Disney stuff.
and that song's in Mickey and the Magical Map. too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes. Jesus. That's a jar moment for you.
Sorry.
That's your 17th jar moment today,
I-
Michelle.
Oh yeah, we owe them so much money.
I have a jar, guys. It's fine.
If you guys have never seen New Girl, there's like I think it's a douche jar.
Yes.
Not that Michelle's a douche,
Oh, but I say
but it's
TMI thing.
yeah, it's the
It's
TMI
the
jar. for
TMI jar
Michelle.
specifically for Michelle. When we hang out together, the four of us, she is constantly oversharing. So Em and Lou, they have concocted a TMI jar that we're supposed to be dropping
We
money
don't even
into
actually have a jar. We
every
just say-
time.
and then sometimes
Michelle
I'll
overshares.
disclose
You
like,
owe more money on that jar than you owe Emily for after our bet.
No,
Right.
And then
it's $10,000.
Yeah.
and then sometimes I know I'm gonna say something bad, and I'll go, I'll put this in the jar, but there ain't no jar.
The debt is racking up.
We're about
Yeah.
to get that jar. I have a mason jar. I'm gonna pull out the
You
closet
freaking-
right now.
You should. That's hilarious. Decorate it.
Oof.
Michelle's jar.
Anywho, so the
Anyway.
animated version, I agree 100% with what you guys said. It felt good to watch.
Okay.
I was super into it. Luis and I kept looking at each other, and I think we paused a couple times and we're like, wow, we're really enjoying this. Like, more than I was expecting to.
Right.
It was so fun.
And I knew some backstory or, like, background on this, on the animated version that I kept referring to in my brain, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. And I kept thinking, like, I'm so glad that that was not a choice that was followed through with.
Oh, okay.
On
Something
the
you had
animated
thought.
version, because I liked the way that it turned out. I did think it was very funny. I did not know anything about the vultures, so when that whole scene was happening, I was like,
It's
what?
me, the
is-
Beatles.
what do you want to do?
Vultures.
Well, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I'm really glad the Beatles were not in this movie,
I don't
because
know, what
what
do
would
you
have been
want to
happening?
do?
Like, a little, like,
That's one of the best parts of the
I assume
animated.
they would have
though.
been jamming, you know?
but it wouldn't have been jungly.
And their freaking song that they sing too.
Oh my God.
Hilarious.
So funny. Anywho, so I very much enjoyed it. First impression was jolly good.
Jolly good.
I'm so happy you liked it.
And what about for the new one?
Live action, I too was not a fan.
Okay.
So there's parts of it that I'm super fan of. Like, I really like certain things. And then there's other parts mostly regarding
Giant
the
monkeys.
giant monkey.
Gigantopithecus.
Yes, that thing that I just could not handle. And there was two main points, and I think again we've talked about it before, but it was the size, but it was also the singing.
It's also his
Oh, the
face.
song.
And I was just like, you don't gotta sing, Chris. Like, you don't.
Nobody wanted him to sing.
It's
Yeah,
me,
don't-
walk. I can't
They
do a
ruined
Christopher
that
Walken
song, which was so good in the animated, in my opinion.
Yes, you didn't have to.
impression. Oh, I'm a monkey. Hey. Is that how he talks? I can't do a walking impression. This is embarrassing.
I don't know. Anywho, so, but after the viewing, I think because we watched them kind of in tandem, we were like watching with the kids, and then we went to the animated, and then we went back to the live action. I think because we did it that way, I enjoyed all of them more.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They fed off each other really well. the source material was good enough that when they like redid it on screen, it looked really nice.
Right.
Because I know that's something we've talked about in our other double features where it's like, wow, that was the exact scene on the hill in Beauty and the Beast or whatever. When they did that
I like
here,
that.
they did it really well.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So I enjoyed it. What about you, Lou?
Louis,
Pick
67.
up your mic.
Pick up your mic.
Pick it up, 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 pick it up.
Now speak.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
He has his mic, guys. It's fine.
He's so mad. Look at him. He's so mad.
Let this man speak.
Let him speak.
They're good.
Speech.
I don't think I had ever watched the 67
Oh, okay.
all the way through. Bits and pieces of it. I've watched so many different versions of
That's what I was going to say too. I
Mowgli.
forgot.
Mowgli,
Right.
Jungle Book, not just recent ones, but I remember very much that there was a before this animated one or the live version one, and before the other one that Smeagol and Benedict starred in called Mowgli. There was
Right.
another live version one.
There's a
and
lot of them.
Yeah, there's been a lot. But anyways, long of the short, love the original. It's pretty cool, pretty upbeat. But I love the live version one so much more.
Interesting.
Luis and I watched Mowgli. The movie was called Mowgli, right?
I think it's on Netflix.
That's the Netflix one.
Oh, good God. We watched Mowgli when that literally like the day I had Olivia.
Oh, really?
So like in the hospital, we had a date and we watched Mowgli and I was so PO'd. I was like, this is very sad.
Oh.
This is not.
Really?
It was not. It was a similar story, but they played on different side characters a lot more
Okay.
than just the
And
main
just
story.
Bagheera and Baloo
And so it was very baggy.
and Baggy.
So it was very sad. So I was not happy that we watched that, but Luis
Interesting.
insisted.
Interesting.
Well, I'm happy that we enjoyed these ones. So let's get in to the plot of the Jungle Book.
The Jungle
Okay?
Book.
The good thing is it's pretty simple. I
it's
mean,
pretty simple.
pretty
Yeah.
straightforward.
I mean, if we're just going to say this plot straight up, Mowgli. I love that they call him a man cub. I don't know why, but I
Man
think that's
cub.
like so clever. So we have Mowgli, who needs to go back to the man village because Shere Khan the tiger is trying to hunt him down. Like, that's just the gist of the story.
So when he was a baby,
Yes.
he was found. It kind of reminds me of like Moses on like
Yeah.
the what
He
the
gets pushed out on the river, right?
out on the river.
Yeah.
I want to call it the Nile. But
I was about to say
I
the
don't
Nile
think it
too.
was the
it was
Nile,
definitely not the
but
Nile.
it was a river.
It was
Yeah.
like the sea,
It's a pretty popular. The
Jerusalem
Red Sea.
Sea.
the Jerusalem Sea. I'm done with you.
I think the Red Sea is the sea that's in between like Egypt and
Jerusalem.
Yes, Jerusalem.
Thank you.
Stop. The Jerusalem.
The Jerusalem River.
That was close.
Anywho, so he it reminds me of that because in the first scene of the animated version you see him in a basket like baby just and Bagheera just comes up and is like, and there's Mowgli.
That's a baby.
I love Bagheera, though. Bagheera is my favorite character in both. Like,
Agreed.
hands down.
Bagheera's
Although
good.
Bagheera is way sassier in the animated than in the live action to me. But, so Bagheera basically just finds Mowgli. And Bagheera is also the narrator in both versions, which I really like. He's a Black Panther. He's so cute. And he, knows that Mowgli's not going to survive in the jungle unless he has somebody to take care of him. So he very smartly takes him to the wolf pack. Because, they're a pack.
They're
gonna stay together.
familial and there's like a
they're,
mom
yes,
and
there's some
yeah.
maternal
cubs.
people there.
And they raise Mowgli for like the first 10 years of his life, I think, in both. I think
Right.
he's like 10.
Yes, he's about 10 years
Yeah.
old.
And Bagheera the whole time is watching him, just like watching over him, almost like a guardian angel, kind of.
Yeah.
I love Bagheera.
He's straight up Godfather status, you know.
Yeah.
Baggy.
Baggy.
Baggy. Bagheera.
Oh, Mr. Bags.
Also, that name is just cool. Like, if I had a black cat, I would name it Bagheera, like, hands
For
down.
sure.
Oh yeah, that's a good name.
Bagheera.
That's not bad.
What did Adeline call him?
It was Boogira.
Bagheera.
It's
Bagheera.
Oogly and Boogira.
Boogly.
What's Oogly doing?
Oogly.
Oh,
No, because we were
Boogira.
saying something is like, no, that's Oogly and Boogira.
If you say
Okay.
Mowgli.
Yeah. No, Oogly.
Oogly.
Oh, okay.
All right, girl.
So yeah, so the wolves they raise him. There's Aquila the papa, and then what's the mama's
Aquila's
name?
the pack leader.
Oh.
Mhm.
And then mom is. Oh my! I was gonna say something ridiculous. I'm not even gonna say it.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
can't
I
remember the mom's name, but
I
Aquila.
was gonna say
Aquila
Ashanti. I don't know.
definitely not Ashanti.
Ashanti
Luis, do you have my phone?
and her husband Ja Rule.
Stop. What is the mom's name? babe?
It's Aquila and nope, it's not Iki. Nope, it's not Gray. Where
is the brother.
did she go? Oh, Raksha.
Raksha.
Raksha and Aquila.
Raksha.
Yeah, so they raise
I feel
Mowgli.
like Raksha was the dad.
It says
No.
Lupita Nyong'o
Aquila
plays
is-
Raksha.
No, the Aquila is the pack leader though.
But he's the dad in the animated.
Oh,
There's
maybe
no
I'm
pack in the
confusing
animated. It's just.
It's just
Oh.
the small wolf family.
The little family
The
of
little
wolves.
family with the wolves and the little cubs. So yeah, the wolves raise Mowgli, and in the animated version, they're there for a little while until word of Shere Khan returning to the jungle comes, and they decide to usher Mowgli out of there before he starts, eating up little humans or whatever. And in the live action, they delve a little bit more into what it's like to be raised by wolves, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool. Mowgli's always he's running through the jungle and stuff like that. He's running
Bagheera's,
drills.
like, training
he's
him
like training,
to be a wolf.
be a wolf, which is cool. And
And he's not quite there because he's doing his what, Luis? Don't walk away.
His
Oh,
tricks.
man. His tricks.
he's always doing his tricks.
Oh my gosh, I don't know why. And Luis and I were in bed literally giggling about it because we don't know how to explain why it's so funny to us that he's out there doing his tricks.
His
It's like
tricks.
he kind of says it like the way that meme with where I think it's Gandalf and what's his name,
Oh, and Frodo,
Frodo, where it's like, all right, keep
keep your
secret.
secrets.
Oh my god.
We can't explain why, but it's the same thing.
Doing your tricks.
Doing your little tricks.
That's hilarious.
Tricksies.
Hilarious.
But yeah, it's not the wolf way, You can't be doing them tricks. What are you doing with your hands,
they
making
get-
ropes and
the pack
cups
is-
and stuff
Opposable
like that?
thumbs.
The
What's wrong with
pack
you?
is pretty serious in the live action. They have like the
I guess the best way I can do that is like, back in the olden times where people are saying that like for example you create when they did the first light bulb, they're like, oh, sorceress, devil work.
Right? Yeah.
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
the same way, in the same way.
yeah.
There's no such thing as magic.
Harry Potter.
Oh, truth.
And yeah, they have like a whole creed too of the wolf.
Oh yeah, we are the wolves. This is our song. We talk, chant, and that's
All
how you
day
be a wolf.
long.
Exactly. Yeah. So wolf life is pretty cool. At one point, Mowgli, this is still in the live action. I think it's a porcupine. He's out there. He's like, I'm a porcupine. This is my rock. This is my mud. He
Oh my
goes-
god, I love that
he
porcupine.
sees-
He was so funny. He was like, this is my leaf, and my stick, my rock,
It's
my
my
rock,
rock, it's my mud.
Yeah.
And he sees that because the plains have been so dry for so long, the peace rock has revealed itself in like the local watering hole. It's so the water's so low that all the animals can come together and hang out and be chill and civil and not
I
eat
really
each other.
like that scene.
Yeah,
I
it
thought that was
it was
very
cool.
cool.
I like Peace Rock. And that's where Shere Khan reveals himself at Peace Rock in the live action. And in the animated version, they're going through they usher Mowgli out of the
Just
village.
because they say Shere Khan's coming back to this part of the jungle.
Right, he's just coming back.
He's
They
just coming
know.
back.
A little bird told him or whatever.
And the tigers don't like humans. It doesn't really get into any backstory more than that. Just
No.
like he doesn't like the humans because he got hurt by one.
Right. So that's
know.
that's basically it. But in the live action, when he shows
Way more
up
intense.
at Peace Rock, and everybody's out there being chill. You know, there's been a couple tiny little fights, but they've been broken up pretty quickly. When Bagheera shows up, all the pigs or whatever, they're like, "Oh snap! It's a panther! Don't eat us! Remember the truce!" And Bagheera's like, "I'm chill. I know what I'm doing."
It's funny the way
Yeah.
they say it because they're like, "Well, remember the truth, remember the truth."
Remember the truth, please.
It's like,
they're
I know
they're
the
deer.
laws.
They're not pigs.
Because Bagheera's a rule follower.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
He-
I
he-
know the laws.
He wrote the rules or
He's
whatever.
like, I'm just trying to get a drink of this water.
Hold on though, this may be a little far gone, but like, yeah, Bagheera gives them up to the wolves because he's like, oh, but he needs somebody to raise them. But it's like,
You found him, dog.
you couldn't raise them.
Yeah.
No, I feel like I can't say this because it's something for the crack, but there's a certain way I feel about Bagheera. I'll tell you guys later.
Okay. Too hot for TV.
No, it's not like that. No. Okay, I'll say it. He's like just a sassy, like has to live by himself, homebody. I'm not gonna say it.
Okay.
He's a bachelor.
He's a a gay bachelor.
Okay.
He's a gay bachelor.
I was
I
gonna leave
mean,
it a
that's
bachelor,
cool.
but sure.
I just love Ben Kingsley's
Yeah,
his portrayal.
Kingsliness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of
for sure.
of old Baggy.
I just
Baggy.
I love Bagheera.
He's cool.
Sir Ben
Sir Ben
Kingsley, as
Kingsley,
Luis reminded.
That's right. So everybody at Peace Rock is being chill until Shere Khan shows up, and then you really see the impact that he has on the rest of the jungle. Basically,
Dude, Idris Elba as him though.
Oh
Elba.
yeah,
Oh, dude.
It's
Freaking perfect
Nailed it,
casting.
nailed it.
But
It's fantastic.
Nobody has a voice like Idris Elba.
I was like, is that Chief Bogo from Zootopia? He was like,
Oh,
definitely
see,
is.
oh,
Is that
see, I was
Heimdall
like,
over
it's
there?
Heimdall.
Oh, yeah.
is that Luther? So yeah, Idris Elba shows up. He walks in. He's like, "What's that smell? It smells different around here. It smells like man cub." And they're like, "Oh snap, there's a man cub right over there, dude. Get out of here, chill." And so he becomes very threatening. He's like, "Oh, I swear to God, I done told y'all not to be bringing no humans into my jungle."
Dude, like straight up too, and everyone's scared of him.
Everyone's terrified. And the wolf pack leader, he steps up, and Bagheera, they're like, "Hey, it's all good, man. He's been raised by wolves. He's not like a real man. He's like a wolf.
He's our
man.
cub.
Don't worry about him.
And he's basically like, you're gonna bring him to me.
If you don't give me that little human, it's gonna be a problem for everybody."
It's
Okay.
gonna get real up in here.
Well, and what we know about Shere Khan in this one is just like they make a couple comments of like he just kills for sport
Right.
too. Like
Yeah.
he's just straight up evil. I think Emily had texted us like, "Ooh, Shere Khan straight up evil,"
That's
and like
like
all
sheer
caps.
evil.
And I know the moment you probably texted us that too was probably right when he did something bad.
He did the thing.
We'll get there. We'll get
He
there.
did the thing.
But there's something like in my core that gets me when there's like a good villain. Because like, yes, Shere Khan is a villain in the animated one.
Right.
He's obviously trying to hunt Mowgli, and like that's not good.
But he's
But
really
this
not in the
one
movie that much.
is
in,
like,
in the animated version.
Like
He's
ooh.
manipulative,
Right.
and he's cunning.
He's conniving.
and conniving. Like he does all of the good background villain stuff that you
stuff.
want to see on screen.
Yes.
That makes you like, ooh, I hate you. You are like at the end. I know this sounds awful, but like you deserve to die.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you deserve a fiery death.
At
bro.
one point,
Like bye, bro.
at one point, so Mowgli he leaves, right, and then the wolf pack is like, they're like, okay, he left, everything should be good now. He comes back to the wolf pack. He's like, "Where's my man cub?" And they're like, "He's gone." And they're like,
Yeah, because
"I told y'all
Bagheera-
to deliver him."
Bagheera was
to
like,
me.
I'll take him.
Right.
And they're trying to trick him into going back to the man village because they really kind of have to.
Yeah.
He's dead,
But
man.
Shere Khan is just like hanging out at the
Ooh,
wolf pack.
and it was just nice because it was like that scene got me because it was like almost like a thing of like truce, right? That Shere Khan laid down like a cat, and then Akela was like, "Okay, he's laying down. I'm gonna lay down too." So they both were like talking,
right.
like laid down like a dog and a cat, and that's what made me think like this is not good because
About to get real up in
Akela's
here.
feeling like okay. He's not up. He's not in the attack position. He's like a let's talk.
And yet he's
Ooh!
very, very intimidating all the same.
Yeah, I love Shere Khan, dude.
So yeah, Shere Khan is definitely a highlight of the live action. I really
For
like
sure.
what they did with him.
And Bagheera is like my highlight of friggin' the animated
Of
dude.
both. So back to the animated. Mowgli is taken away by Bagheera. He's like, hey, let's go on an adventure or whatever. He's like, okay, fine. And then they go out and he's like, Mowgli, the thing is, we're not going to be going back to the wolf pack. And Mowgli's like, what's going on? Why? He's like, I'm taking you to the man village. He's like, the man village? I ain't no man. I'm a wolf, dude.
Yeah.
Hello, I belong in the jungle.
And that's hilarious because then we go through a whole trope of like, I can be an elephant. I can be a bear. I can be a this.
Yeah.
And he goes through all the animals that he could be, and it's like, bro.
Bruh,
You're a
you're
man.
probably just going to have to be a dude.
You're a little dude, right? So eventually he kind of follows Bagheera.'s like, all right, we got to go through the jungle, right, to get to this man village. And that's when one of the best parts of the animated happens too. And it's so different because I feel like the live action's pretty serious most of the time.
Yeah.
It has some funny moments
definitely funny
with Baloo, but there's way more funny moments in the animated to me. And the elephants on parade is one of the best parts. Okay,
I did not remember that. I mean, again,
Well,
I
you
hadn't
never
seen
seen it.
but I didn't know anything about the
About the
elephants on the
elephants?
parade.
Oh my god.
The Pachyderm parade. But it's hilarious because I have heard that song multiple times.
Oh. Dun, 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 dun,
Dun,
dun,
Yeah, and
dun,
the,
dun,
keep it up. Boom,
Dun,
boom,
dun,
boom.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
But I never knew what it was from. So now I'm like, where do I know this from?
In a military style.
So bad.
It's so good.
So yeah, Mowgli and Bagheera, they meet up with some elephants, and Mowgli's he immediately hops in to the parade
And
train.
Mowgli's like, I'm an elephant
He
too.
gets out on all four legs and he's walking in the same trotting
It's so
pace as
good.
the elephants. And the little kid elephant who's at the very back of the company, he's like instructing him on what to do and whatnot. He's like, just follow me. We got this. And the little kid elephant's dad is the colonel, and he's leading the whole company. Company, halt! And then they all run into each other and stuff.
Every time.
It's very silly. I love all of the animation of all
so
of
good.
the elephants.
The physical comedy in the way that it's drawn is very funny.
It's
Well, and
great.
also my favorite is like the wife. I can't think of her name right now.
Winifred or something.
Winifred. She's like talking to the elephant next to her. She's like, I've been walking all day. My feet. When is he gonna stop? And they're like, yeah, I'm transferring to a different company.
It's
so
great.
stupid.
They all line up and he gives them their criticism. He's like, Winifred, get it together.
Oh
And
no,
then-
he gives the one elephant a haircut.
Oh yeah, he's like,
Buzz cuts him.
that haircut is not regulation, and then he just chops his hair
Like,
to
Oh no.
GI Joe style.
Yeah.
It's very funny. There's one elephant who is on some kind of substances or whatever. His eyes are bloodshot, and he's just in
The
there.
one with the
he's
piece of
chewing.
stuff on And I think he says some kind of comment like, you need to, I don't know what he says, but it's something that's like,
Wake up, cadet, or something like that.
I don't know.
I don't
Very
remember,
funny.
but it's all very funny. And the whole point of this scene is basically just to showcase that the elephants are cool and big and not too bothered by anything else that's going on in the
Well,
in the
kind
jungle.
of. When he saw the man cub in the ranks, he was like, a man cub. I never heard of this.
What's all this?
I really liked it though because it was so different
Mm-hmm.
from the animated to the live action version.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the
yeah.
elephants were silly and fun and exciting in the animated version, but in the live action they were majestic
Right.
and they were
They were like
revered.
godlike.
yeah.
Yeah.
They literally had no connection to any other animal, so that made them super revered.
Right.
But they also were important because
They paved the way
they
of the
paved way for-
rivers and
Mhm.
the way the land flows, and they were like bowing to them. Like you have to show
You have
the
to show your
elephants
respect. Yeah, it's very interesting what they do in the live action, where a lot of animals, they're all talking and stuff like that. Mowgli's talking to them, they're talking back and whatnot. But then there are also animals that don't talk. And at one point, Mowgli asked one, like, do you have a language? And I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy that some animals, like Baloo and the wolves and Bagheera, they all use language and they speak to each other. But then other animals, like the elephants, they don't talk and they behave more like traditional animals, I guess.
This is like
But
our
they're
Cars
still
conversation.
Yeah, I was kind
in
of
the
confused
sentient
on that.
versus non-sentient.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
so
I was like, so
you're a
Mowgli.
boat that actually is a boat, or are you a boat that's a car boat?
Mowgli speaks a lot of languages, but apparently not little weird raccoon-looking thing and elephant.
I wonder if it's not just that he can't speak the language, but that they don't use a language. Like it's more like they use ASL or something like that, as opposed to speaking
or
with
just
their
like
mouths.
sounds.
Right?
Because
yeah.
you hear the elephant's trumpet,
Mhm.
but to them, that's just they're making their trumpet noise. They're not like saying words with their
Right.
trumpeting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it is elephant language.
So
You're right.
so back to the live action. At this point, they're going through the elephants, and then they're in an open field, and he's still talking about like I don't wanna go to the man village. I'm just gonna be, and there's like antelopes and water buffalo. He's like, I just be one of these or whatever. And Bagheera's like telling him to be quiet. And this is where you're like, Mowgli, you wouldn't last a day because Bagheera knows something's in the grass and you are oblivious,
Oh, yeah,
right?
that's right.
So Bagheera and Shere Khan is there because he's on the hunt for Mowgli already. They just cat fight city, man.
It's a crazy action scene that I wasn't ready for.
I like the fight scenes.
Yeah, but yeah, it's really dope. The
Cat City.
Cat City.
Cat City.
Shere Khan
Cat City.
attacks Bagheera.
Remember that?
I do remember Cat City.
Hits him pretty good. Mowgli runs away, and as he's running away, the Shere Khan is catching up to him. He's right behind him, and Mowgli jumps down into like an empty ravine.
Yeah.
And
on some water.
yeah, some water buffalo hit Shere Khan at the very last second.
Oh,
right
and
before
this
he
looks
attacks.
real familiar.
And then this scene is
The Lion King.
it's the Lion King, like shot for shot. It's crazy.
Luis was upset about it. Can you pay attention to what
You
we're
were
doing,
upset that
Luis?
it was just like The Lion King, Luis?
Well,
We're talking to you.
It's like The Lion King.
the water buffalo scene.
Yeah,
live
that
action.
wasn't. I didn't like it, but honestly, like now that I think about it, there's not anywhere else where he could have.
Gone.
Like, if we look at the topography of where he was, there was
Mhm.
nowhere else where he would have survived. That tiger would have got him.
Right.
So to me, I'm thinking about like the creators. I'm like, you know
How's he
what?
gonna
This
get out of
probably
this?
was not their first choice, but then they thought, hey, we're okay. We're already here at the open savannah. How can he survive? And that's the
Because he
only
couldn't have
plausible-
outrun him.
Right.
That's the only
yeah.
plausible thing that could have
He's
happened.
not gonna outrun him.
That's
But-
very true.
Yes, I was mad, but I understand it now.
The thing
And they didn't know they were, or maybe they didn't know at that point that they were going to do a live action Lion King. So they were
right.
like, well,
exactly, especially
It
because
could have been
the
like
director
a.
of
It
this.
could have been a nod. You know.
It absolutely was a nod. Like that's the thing about it is that it's so close to the Lion King. He jumps down into the ravine. All the water buffalo
The music even
come down. Yeah,
sounds
the
like
music is pretty reminiscent of the Hans Zimmer Lion King score, and he's running along with the water buffalo while Shere Khan is looking at him from above, just like Mufasa
Scar.
and or Scar. You know,
Yeah.
and it looks exactly the same. Like it is the shot for shot remake of that scene, but put into this movie.
I didn't
And
mind it though because it made sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And I bet it's because we're such huge Disney fans that we notice it so much. Whereas
That's
maybe,
an iconic Lion King thing. I think anybody would notice it.
okay. I was just about to say, like, I don't know.
Like I feel like that's such a
how-
classic thing. Even if you haven't seen The Lion King, you know about that
right.
scene.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Okay.
like.
So
I
in that
think-
case, in that case, if everybody recognizes it, I think it's a little heavy-handed.
Yeah.
The one-to-oneness.
I didn't
I
mind
do
it
agree,
the
though,
much.
Luis, that there's not many things that
They could have done.
they could have done for him to be able to have
to
escaped
get away from the
successfully.
tiger because like Shere Khan can't.
Unless he like burrowed into a hole or something.
Yeah, but
I mean,
My
Shere
mole
Khan
friends are here.
Yeah, like I don't know.
can't stampede all of them. And luckily he gets away because he hops on one of the water buffalo
Yes.
and gets away,
And
which
Shere
is
Khan can't follow.
which is great. But Shere Khan is pissed at this point that they didn't give him no man cub. So he goes back to the wolf pack, and this is what we're talking about, where him and Akela are having a conversation,
tete-a-tete.
and they're like, "Well, he's gone," and he's like, "Really? He's gone? Back in the man village?
That's
Okay,
interesting.
then I
Okay.
guess we
I'm
don't
gonna have to get him to
have
come
a
back.
problem." And then he freaking throws Akela off the cliff.
So yeah, he's being very intimidating, very
And
scary.
I think I said a curse word out loud.
He straight up grabs a wolf with his jaws and throws it off of a cliff. And it's not just any wolf; it's the alpha of the entire pack.
Oh yeah,
I
and
remember
the whole
when we
pack
watched
was
it the first
watching.
time, Luis and I looked at each other. We're like, "Oh my
Oh.
god!" Like that is not what I was expecting.
And that's
to
when
happen.
Emily was like, "He evil."
Yeah, he's
Oh,
sheer
goodness.
evil.
Yeah, he's straight
Shere
up
Khan, sheer evil.
sheer evil. Yeah, it is very scary. So he means business, and he
At that point,
he
yeah.
proclaims to the rest of the jungle that he is
He's taking over the hills.
he's taking over, and Mowgli better get back here or else,
And he basically stays there because he's just like, well, Mowgli's going to hear that Akila's dead and he's going to come back.
He's gonna come
Which he
running.
eventually does, but not just then because, Mowgli's on a water buffalo.
Right, yes. On the buffalo.
So it's at this point, let's go back to the animated because they are on their journey, and the journey isn't this intense. None of that is in the animated version.
Right, he doesn't have
They're
an
just
encounter with Shere
walking,
Khan.
and it's nighttime, and they're still arguing about. He's like, "I'm not going to the man village,"
Yeah.
and Bagheera is just like, "We need to get some sleep, right?" So Mowgli is good at climbing trees, and as is Bagheera because he's a panther. So they decide to take a little nippy nappy sleepy time in the tree.
In a tree.
And then I think my second favorite character in the animated is Kaa. He's so ridiculous. It's Winnie the Pooh.
Yes. he
So
is-
Winnie the
he
We
is
need the car.
Winnie
We
the
need a
Kaa.
We need a Kaa.
Yeah, so Kaa.
What's that animate
the-
voice actor's name?
The actor's name is Sterling Holloway, and he
It's Winnie the Pooh,
he
man.
voices Winnie the Pooh, and who else?
Other things.
Oh wait,
The Cheshire Cat.
The Cheshire Cat. That's the big one.
Yeah.
Yes, and he uses a very similar voice here for Kaa, but just with basically just with a little bit of a lisp
With
for
the
the snake.
Trust
snakiness
in
of it.
me.
Yeah, so Kaa he attempts to hypnotize and eat
It's
Mowgli.
so funny, dude. It's so freaking funny, that whole scene, too. Because
Everything-
Bagheera's just like right there, like, oh, yes, shut up.
Everything about the physical piece of Kaa, like his body, his coils,
His tail.
his tail, his eyes, even everything is very well done.
Yes.
It's
So
funny,
funny, too.
It's all
and
funny.
it's physically appealing to watch. It's fun to
And
watch.
even his
little,
song is silly.
his little
Like,
constrictor body going around
The
Mowgli.
voice was perfect.
Yeah.
oh,
I thought
yeah.
the voice was perfect. At first, I was upset, man. This Winnie the Pooh, but nah, he
No,
was
it's perfect.
he's Winnie the car for sure.
It's Winnie the
Yeah.
Car,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's so perfect.
Don't want any
He even, like, gets him in his coils.
man cub.
And then I think, like, when he's at his coils, and then Bagheera finally, like, realizes what's happening and smacks him, and he falls out of the tree, and he's like, "You're gonna pay for this, Bagheera." Bagheera.
his little snake body is making squeaky noises because he smashes on. It's very funny.
And then he tries to hypnotize.
He looks like an unwound slinky.
He gets a
so
knot in
bad.
his tail, and he's like, "Oh, my tail."
There's a knot in my
Speaking of, the knot in his tail makes a the design from his tail makes a hidden Mickey,
Oh.
and I have the picture of it, but it's pretty cool.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
Interesting.
From the tail.
So I love Kaa so much in the animated version that this is one of my qualms with the live action is that I was
What did you call it earlier?
a
quip?
qualm, a quip. Yeah, I think I said like a quirp or something.
Quip it.
It's a
quipple.
quip, a quirp.
Quip or quirpy.
Kaa in the live action, it just did nothing for. I didn't like it.
I mean,
I liked the aspect of the fact that Kaa was huge.
yes, that's what I was just about
But
to say.
I didn't like that they changed the gender. I don't know why that threw me off so much. And then it just wasn't. I don't know.
Well, the one
That
thing
threw
that
me off.
threw me for a loop was the amount of screen time
Mm-hmm.
for Kaa in the animated versus the live action. So I feel like in the animated version, Kaa has a much bigger role.
He shows up several
To
times.
play.
Yeah, I think he does. He captures him again later in the movie, too.
Right.
Correct.
And in the live action, Kaa wasn't really that important.
No.
I would say in
Just to do the whole eyeball. Oh, look, I know who
Mhm.
you are.
Yeah.
Like, here's your past.
I would say that in the animated version, Kaa is almost like a second
Secondary villain,
Yes, where there are things out in the jungle that are
Are
harmful to
dangerous.
humans, and especially kid humans, man cubs or whatever. And there's
Like, you
tigers
need to
and there's
go-
big snakes.
yeah,
you need
you
to get
need to
out
get
of
outta here,
because
bro.
it's not safe for you. Whereas in the live action, the Kaa scene, you're right. It's kind of just more like an homage
Yeah.
to the
It
animated
was a little
version.
lackluster. I mean, I did like the fact that they made Kaa like a giant snake.
Yeah.
That made sense to me because
A Gigantopithecus.
no,
Pretty much. but-
absolutely not. But Andre and I have one time we went down a YouTube rabbit hole of watching snake videos.
Oh, yeah, we watched.
about like anacondas and stuff too.
So I just had something in my bathroom fall.
Oh.
I
And
jumped.
Andre and Michelle thought it was like gunshots outside. You should have seen
Did
their
we
faces.
both do this?
You guys both covered your ears and
Okay,
turned
well,
around as
where
if
we
what-
live, if you hear that, it is a
I
gunshot.
thought one of your
okay?
kids might have turned into the Hulk and busted out of their bedroom or something. Holy moly. Okay.
I'm glad everyone's okay. Eat your cookie. Okay.
Okay, cool. We all good. We all
We good, we good, we good, homie.
Ka.
Where's your hammer under your bed, babe? Get your hammer.
So yeah, so in the live action, I think Ka is played by Scarlett Johansson. She's putting
Weird.
on her-
I have okay. I think my number one qualm is I have an issue when you're just like changing the character. Like it was this is a boy and now it's a girl. I don't know why that kind of stuff throws me off so much, but it does.
She was there. She was putting on her sexiest voice for
I think
whatever
that's my
Maybe
reason.
that
problem.
was the
Is that
issue.
he was funny and silly
Yes.
and kind of like his voice made him sound not harmful,
Right.
even though he was very
though he's
harmful.
definitely
Yeah.
And Scarlett Johansson's voice was the sexy voice.
Right.
Maybe
Like,
that
it
was my issue.
It was like enticing,
Trust
in a
me.
creepy.
In a creepy
It's like
way.
Lana
In a
Del
creepy
Rey.
way.
Sexy
Yeah.
baby. Trust in me.
Yeah.
Trust in me.
Pretty much.
So yeah. So yeah. She's putting on the hotness.
Yeah, it's like Lana.
She's putting on the hotness to entrap Mowgli.
A child. And it's
yeah,
creepy.
which is weird. But it does work. She starts the hypnotism, and with the hypnotism, she shows him a flashback of how Shere Khan got his scar. So Mowgli looks into her eyes, and a vision plays. Right. Shere Khan, he goes into a cave where he sees a red flower. Right. The red flower is fire. That's how the animals see it, as a red flower. He goes into the cave, and there's a man in there. There's a man. He's holding a torch, and Shere Khan is a tiger, so he's like, "Oh, cool, a man. I'm gonna eat him." And then he like goes for the attack, and the man takes the torch, swipes Shere Khan in the eye with it, scars him up, burns him good.
Smartly.
It's a pretty good move
Effective.
in order to fight a tiger.
Not
But-
good enough.
But it's not quite good enough, and Shere Khan is like, "Ow, that hurt. I'm gonna kill you now," and he does. But it turns out that that man who was in that cave, he had a baby with him, and the baby was
Mowgli.
wearing red pants. His name was Mowgli. Okay, throughout
Wearing red pants.
the movie, I was like, 'cause in the animated, it doesn't really dawn on me why Mowgli is wearing like red trunks or whatever. But in the live action, it kind of stood out a little bit more. I was like, where'd this kid get these red undies from? but it was explained to me during the scene. It was this baby is wearing red pants, which go all the way down his little ankles. And I guess he grows up as a 10-year-old and just
now
shrinks
they're
and shrinks and
underwear.
shrinks, and now they're just undies. I hate to see when this homie turns 16 or whatever. This is going to be all the way up there. You know what I'm saying?
Stop. Stop
Stop
it.
Clothes,
Dong, 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 dong.
That's all he's got to wear. So this is the reveal of Mowgli's backstory, which we don't get in the animated version.
No, so which is nice, and then basically what happens is, very different. So while we're on live action, still we'll say that Baloo attacks the snake and saves Mowgli from Ka.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Very different from what we're going to flash back to, which is animated.
Because Mowgli in the live action has separated from Bagheera. At
has
this point,
separated.
because
Bagheera got attacked by Shere
Khan.
Khan. That does not happen in the animated.
That's right.
So in this one, Bagheera's like gets caught out in the animated, and he's like, "All right, let's get some sleep." They go to sleep, and then the next morning, again, he says, like, "Okay, we gotta go." And Mowgli's throwing like the biggest hissy fit. He's like, "I'm not going to the man village."
Done.
And he's basically just throwing a hissy fit. And Bagheera is so sassy. I love Bagheera in the animated. He's just like, "Well, fine then.
You know what?
I'm done with you."
You go be alone in the jungle.
And he
We'll
just
see how
leaves
long you
him.
last. Peace out.
So Bagheera straight up leaves Mowgli in the animated, and that's how he runs into Baloo.
Yes.
Just because he's wandering the jungle by himself.
In the animated version, Mowgli and Baloo, they start hanging out and they start like play fighting, and Baloo's like, "Give me your best roar," and Mowgli's like, "Rawr." And Baloo's like, "No, you gotta do it like this, roar." And then that's what cues Bagheera, who is, I don't know,
To,
a
like,
mile and
come
a half
back.
away by this point. He's like, hey, I guess my kid's getting attacked. I better go back.
Well, because Mowgli's like
Like,
sad,
there's a
and this
bear
one he's
coming
just
at
like
him.
laying there, like, huh. And then Baloo comes by and is like, "What up, kid?" And he's like, "Just leave me alone." And that's what Baloo's like picking on him. He's like, "Come on, give me a roar. You gotta fight. You gotta live out here in the jungle."
Yeah.
They're always like sparring, like.
Yeah. He's
Mm,
throwing the dukes up, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, Baloo
Doing
is
the shuffle.
so fun.
I love
Me.
Baloo a million times in the
Y'all.
animated. A million times.
He's- And you want to know what Addie said?
Mm.
What?
Alexander Lacey, Casey.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
She
child.
knew. She
Casey.
knew.
Giuseppe Casey, y'all.
Mr.
Oh,
Phil
Alexander
Harris
Lacey.
plays
mean-
Baloo, who you will remember as
Thomas O'Malley.
Thomas O'Malley, the alley cat.
The alley.
From,
He's the
the
best
Aristocats.
Baloo. I love Baloo way more in the animated.
He's also
That's
Little
just
John
me.
in Robin Hood.
Yes.
And the narrator in Rockadoodle. Okay.
He's a lot of things. But the thing I love the most about the animated is at this point, Bagheera's like, fine, stay with Baloo. You know what I mean? Whatever, you're going to get into a bunch of shenanigans. And he's like, come on, kid, I'm going to teach you how to be like me. And we get like the best long, I want to be like you, hoo-hoo song. And this song is long, okay? So it's not just like the singing
Bare
part.
Necessities.
I'm sorry, yes, the bare necessities. There's like a whole, I swear, like 5 minutes of just scatting, like at the end of the song, like. Oh yeah. Is that the wrong
So
song?
good.
Yes, that's all still from I Want to Be Like You.
Okay, well, I'm getting him confused, but either.
But no, they both
But I think that-
scat
Yeah,
pretty
he-
well.
I
he
don't
scats
care.
a lot.
It's in both of the songs, and
Yes.
the
I just love watching it with the subtitles because it's like scatting.
Does
no,
scatting.
ours says like dooby doo blue blue, like it said like things on it.
does a bear scat in the woods?
Yes.
Baloo
Yes.
does.
Yeah, he
You know
does.
what I'm talking
Yes,
about?
But it's just
He be
so.
scatting and scatting all over the place.
The bare
Left and right.
necessities song with him is so good.
It's good. He
and I
teaches them
wish,
all kinds
and,
of stuff.
and they didn't sing it as much in the animated. It was just like that small part of them in the in the live action,
Right.
just like that small snippet of them in the river. The
But
live
honestly,
action
it was good enough because I
Yeah,
thought to myself when I watched it the first time.
When I witched it
I thought if they start singing, I'm gonna be so pissed off. And
for the animated.
no,
Oh,
no,
for the live action.
live
the
action.
first time I watched the live action,
Okay.
I was like, please don't sing. Like, I don't need it. It's not necessary.
Mhm.
And there they go. I'm like, okay, Bill Murray.
But it wasn't too bad because it was
No.
just it was
it
more
was short. It was sweet, and it was like
Mowgli made it better.
it was cute
Yeah.
because they were like having their moment
Interacting.
of like. So, Bill Murray as Baloo is very funny to me.
His Baloo is
I
interesting.
don't like the way Baloo looks though. There's
Is he
something
too furry?
yeah, like the way that his hair goes on his cheeks, like they
Mhm.
made it like
His fur
stand
face.
up too much, so where I feel like the bear's hair would go down, and so it was like kind of throwing me off.
Yeah.
Mm.
But the live action Baloo, he's more of like an extortionist.
Yes.
Whereas
Oh yeah,
animated Baloo, he is kind of just looking for a buddy.
He
and
wants a friend.
and he does want to
Oh,
help.
like
the
a
animated
son.
He does want to help
Baloo,
Mowgli
like,
out.
legitimately loves Mowgli. Like he
Right.
says multiple times, like I love that kid. Like
Right.
he's my son now. And yeah,
It's like he found a pet.
the
basically.
live action one is very much like you gonna get that honey down
He's
for
like,
me.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna get you to do this thing for me.
Oh, you
because
got tricks, do you?
Yeah, he's
I
like-
could use some tricks.
he's like, I just saved you, so you gonna save me.
exactly.
You're gonna get
Y'all.
me some
Like-
honey for the winter because he like cuts a deal with him. He's like, we got a good thing
Since I
going
saved your
here,
life,
and you just want to go. Why don't you just go to the man village in like 3 months, and you could just help me get all this honey? I'll accept you for your tricks. And
He's
Mowgli's
like, I
like,
gotta
sure.
hibernate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mowgli's like, yes, sure, only because Baloo is like, I do accept you for your tricks or whatever. He just wants honey, but
It's cool. I kind of like that aspect. Like it kind of makes him a little bit crappier of a character. Like he's just a little bit less altruistic,
because
as-
he's
as
kind
a
of supposed to
character.
be a jungle bum.
But at the same time, yes, he is a jungle bum, and he has to survive, and he's found a perfect opportunity to survive by befriending a person. Most bears don't get to do that. They're all like, "Oh, I'm gonna
See,
eat your
but
tent or whatever.
I love the Baloo perspective more in the animated. He's like, this is my buddy now.
Right? Yeah.
Because
Little friend.
because it seems like in the animated that nobody really likes Baloo.
Yeah.
Like oh, that Baloo, he's crazy. sassy. Is that jungle bum? Like Bagheera is like, oh, Baloo.
Oh, it's Baloo.
I'm telling you, Bagheera in the animated is so sassy. I
So
love
funny.
it so much.
I just love that he keeps
just
calling
is
him
like-
Baggy. Like every time I'm like, oh god.
Oh,
Baggy, come on,
Baggy.
Baggy.
Come on, Baggy. Both are good,
Yes,
but
both are
I have my preference.
I like in the animated version that Baloo, with the bare necessities, he teaches them all kinds of stuff, including to
You send a paw paw and it's a great paw paw.
yeah, you can
There's
use a
that
prickly
whole-
pear, but use your claw. Don't use your hand; it'll hurt. I've been there. Trust me.
How to use the claw.
He also tells them to eat bugs under a rock. I was like,
Nasty.
oh, Timon and Pumbaa. I see.
Yeah, I
I
know.
see where you
Alright.
get it from. Interesting.
Okay.
And then he teaches them how to fight a little bit.
Yeah,
he
it does.
he throw some jabs.
Yeah.
Does some
punches.
Sinbad
It's-
with
it's-
him.
Yeah.
It's very good. And Bagheera all the time in the animated is just watching them from afar like, he's going to have to go to the man village eventually. But in this one, when they're floating down the river, like singing the bare necessities, they hear something in the bushes in the live action, and Bagheera comes out.
Right.
And
yes.
Mowgli's like so happy to see Bagheera.
Bagheera, you're alive.
And then the worst part, though, is he's like, Bagheera, I'm so happy to see you. You're alive, la, la, la. And he's like, let me show you my tricks.
Oh, also, yeah. During his time with Baloo, Mowgli has become a straight-up civil engineer. He's
a
has
human, for show.
constructed
For show.
all kinds of stuff.
Dude is legit, man.
It's
so good.
insane. Like, no human has ever used their brain to this potential at 10 years old before. But
No,
Mowgli
absolutely
is
not.
on top of it.
We did talk about all the Baloo's fans, right? When the first time he sends Mowgli up there.
Oh, we haven't talked about that yet. No.
Oh my!
It's
Did
so
we-
funny.
You thought that was super funny?
Oh my gosh!
With the
I
honey?
couldn't stop laughing. Yeah, he's all up there. Look at yeah, go ahead and get that, and then the little squirrel
Oh,
comes around.
the little.
Yeah.
He's like, oh well, you found another one.
It's so
He's
funny.
like, it
And
doesn't
it-
concern you.
Apparently, Baloo has tried this many times.
With,
He's,
Found
other,
another
with
monkey.
monkeys.
he's befriended monkeys and be like, "Hey, monkey, why don't you go up there and give me some honey or whatever?" And the monkeys always get stung and they run away because they don't mess with the bees like that. And so all these other little woodland creatures come up and see Baloo
My
doing this
favorite
again.
was the, like,
and they're like,
armadillo.
"Oh, another monkey!"
Was it an armadillo?
Yeah, it's an armadillo.
Because he kept going, it's a man cub. And then the next person would come and he's like, he got a man cub. The next one, that's a man cub. And Baloo was like, I'm literally going to kill you.
We're like, oh, he's back at it again, isn't he?
Baloo again. you
Yes,
gotta
it's a
get
man
some
cub.
honey.
That's a man cub? Yes,
Yeah.
man cub.
But the man cub, he's the only one who's able to secure the honey, and he knocks it all down. He gets stung a gajillion times. I don't think this was worth it.
Honey,
necessarily.
it's the cure-all.
The best part is he's like, those are only male bees. Only male bees sting you. Oh, it's not any
Didn't
female
know that. I
bees.
thought they were female bees.
Oh.
Oh.
Whoops.
You couldn't see it from down
Yeah,
here.
just put some honey on that.
Yeah, he tells him to put
Like
honey
it's like
on it.
freaking aloe vera or something.
I mean, I feel like we've bought stuff with honey in it to put on our skins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, little Baloo,
Sure, why
Baloo's
not?
right.
But yeah, he rigs the whole system to
A
get
whole
this honey
system
for
to
him.
continue getting honey without getting stung, and it involves ropes and pulleys and levers and all kinds of stuff that
Very
he made
well done.
out of just
Ooh,
jungle
Bagheera
stuff.
must have been knocked out for like a week at least.
Yeah, he's definitely hanging out with him for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And I also
like
wonder,
days.
yeah, I also wonder like how big this jungle is and how far
It seems
Mowgli is
pretty
actually
big.
traveling. Like, it's probably this whole journey from wherever the wolf pack is to the man village or whatever. That's probably a span of like 25 miles or something
At
like
least.
that for the people at the village to feel safe from the bears and the tigers and all kinds of whatnot
Mhm.
that's in the jungle over there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think not only was Bagheera recovering for a long time, but also he's pretty far away.
Well, and especially when you think about like the typography too. Is that the word, typography?
I think
Just
so.
because, like,
Geography.
Well,
Of the
like
yeah,
they were in like a very Sahara type area,
Mhm.
and now they're in like the deep of the jungle.
yes, yeah. In the live action, there's a lot more varied area within the
Mhm.
jungle. There's rivers and plains and jungle area. It's
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool.
In the animated,
That's
it seemed
true.
more
Just a
jungly the
jungle.
whole time until
Yes.
they get to the
Super
vulture
jungly.
area.
Right. So
We'll get there.
as Baloo, Bagheera, and Mowgli all meet up again in both versions, Mowgli is kidnapped by monkeys. In both versions, he gets,
Yeah, because
gets stolen.
you're forgetting what happens before this
yes,
is
please.
that Bagheera tells Baloo like you have to tell him he
That's right.
has to go to the man village because number one, Akela is dead, and number two, it's not any tiger hunting him; it's freaking Shere Khan.
Yeah.
Okay, like
And then Baloo's like,
He-
ooh,
Oh, Shere Khan.
oh,
Uh-oh.
oh, both? Like, he was like, what do you mean? Akela will keep him safe. And he's like,
Yeah.
no.
he's dead.
He did.
Bag it up.
Well, Akela's only dead in the animated,
You're
though,
right.
right?
You're right.
But
yes.
still, either way, he has to go to the man village. So in
Baloo has
the
to break it to
animated
him.
one, he says it kind of nicely, like, "Oh, come on, little buddy, we gotta go back to the man village," and it's still like really hard for him
Yeah.
to do.
Breaks
But
Mowgli's
in the
little heart.
animated, I mean, in the live action one, he's a straight up jerk.
Luis was like, oh my God.
he did a very like a Lassie style kind of
Yeah,
thing, like
he
get
wa-
out of here, go on,
What
get.
do you
And
call
he's
it? Like a white fang?
yeah,
he
white
white
fang.
fanged
That's
them.
right.
You
Yeah,
guys ever
it
seen
was
White Fang?
not-
It's a pretty sad movie.
With the wolf, right?
It was
yeah.
like mean.
Yeah, he's basically like, I don't need you anymore. I never thought of you
We
as my
weren't
friend.
friends. I didn't like you.
You're better off at the man village. Why don't you go on, get out of here before I have to, put a bear
And so
weight
in
on
both, Mowgli's upset and goes up in the tree and gets taken by monkeys.
you. Right. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that is an important detail.
But
So
can we, let's talk about animated first because it's so good.
Yes, okay.
It's so
The
good.
monkeys freak me out so much.
And both?
Well, yeah.
Mainly in the live action, though,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
there are just so many monkeys. There's a lot of
They're like
them.
monkeys in a barrel.
And they all hang out in these ancient ruins. They're like, not
The ancient runes.
the runes.
Runes.
Well, ancient runes. Runes are
Runes.
like the symbols.
Like a ruin.
Ruin.
Not
Ruin.
like a rune.
It's like the
like a
R-U-N-E?
rune.
the structure.
No.
It's a
R-U-I-N.
Rune. It's a rune. It's a man cub. Rune.
Okay.
Do you know what a rune is?
Yeah, all right.
She's going to die on that hill. It's an ancient rune.
the monkeys have all the monkeys, apes, all kinds of ape
There's
creatures.
all kinds of
all kinds of them. There's gorillas and
different types
and
of...
chimps and monkeys and capuchins and the little all kinds of
I
stuff.
hate that name. Capuchin.
Capuchins, little aboos. They're all hanging out there. They bring Mowgli in. They introduce him to King Louie. King Louie is he's the king of the monkeys. He must have been the one to find the ancient ruins and bring them all there to have a happy, loving community or whatever. And he wants some fire from Mowgli. He thinks that he can help him, or that Mowgli can help him achieve the power of
The
being
red
able
flower.
of the red flower. Yes, and to be able to use it and wield it as his own, which is really cool. I like this concept of animals seeing humans and how they act and what they use, and one of the main things that they use is fire, and that's how they have become so powerful throughout the world. It's technology, fire,
And the
to
fact
them.
that they understand like the food chain and
Right.
that you have to be the most powerful to be at the top of the food chain.
Exactly.
And the only way to do that in their mind is, or at least in King Louie's mind, is to have fire.
Is to acquire this power.
And once you have that power,
Exactly.
ain't nobody coming at you.
Right.
Not even Shere Khan
No, yeah.
in his mind.
Yes, exactly.
So literally, this song is so great in the animated. Okay, so this is where they're scatting, right?
Yes,
For like,
there's more scatting here. Yeah, so I want to be like you,
It's so
you know
good.
the song. He's asking him for the fire or whatnot.
I'm the king of swingers over
And,
the jungle VIP.
During this song,
The Vips.
Bagheera and Baloo make their way to the ancient ruins and figure out they're gonna have to sneak their way in
So
there.
freaking Baloo just puts on a hula skirt and some coconut lips to look like a monkey.
It's another Lion King thing.
That was very
The Jungle
funny.
Book and the Lion King are really tied together, kind of intrinsically.
Yeah, well, then the Jungle Book came first in that instance.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like
It's interesting.
the whole way around, they
It's
both
cir-
kind of
yeah.
eating
They're
the snake's
jungle
tail or
movies.
whatever.
They're
they are
animals.
They are animal jungle movies. But even in the small details, like our hero is in danger, let's distract the enemy by dressing in drag and
Well,
doing the hula.
That part is really good because they don't realize he's a freaking monkey, and it's so hilarious.
That he's not
But
a monkey.
my
They think he is a monkey.
favorite part of the animated is the little gray monkey that's like always trying to outdo King
Oh, yeah,
King
yeah, yeah.
Louie. You know what I'm talking about?
And he gets so mad. He's like,
Yeah, he's doing his own solo, and King Louie's like, "Are you?"
And he's dancing
insane?
too, like.
Because the Great Monkey he's like a
servant.
He's got the big fan, the big fan that he's fanning.
banana leaf.
Yeah, the banana leaf that he's fanning King Louie with, and he's just taking a solo by himself, like he thinks he's someone, you know.
It's so
Who do you
fun.
think you
love
are,
it.
Mr. Big Shot?
I want to watch that scene again right now
It's
because
so
it's
funny.
so good, and
It's
I love
hilarious.
that song.
It's hilarious,
And
then-
it's also one of my favorite parts of Mickey and the Magical Map, where the big King Louie comes out.
Yes.
I'm the king to swing a soul.
And
we're
it-
also not able to talk about that yet. It's too soon.
It's too soon.
It's
It's
too
still
soon.
there in my mind. It's the best show ever.
Yeah. So as
Mickey
Baloo.
and his
Magical map. He's got a map that's
magical.
magical.
That's the unofficial song. I don't know if you've ever seen Mickey
If
and the
you
Magical
all
Map.
believe in the
That's
world
the
of
real
dreams
song.
and imagination.
And I just think it's not as good as my version, you know. Mickey and his magical map.
He's got a map that's magical.
If anybody
Brr,
saw our
brr.
Instagram post of like us dressed as Inside Out from Halloween
Oh yes.
time,
yes,
I'm
yes.
pretty sure that's when that originated.
Oh yes, we had gone to Disneyland and
To see Mickey and the Magical
one of
Map.
us couldn't remember what the
the
Mickey
song
what the Mickey
sounded
and the Magical Map song was, so I made one up on the spot, and we've been singing it ever since. It's
We've
probably
Been
like
singing
5
that
years
for
ago.
5 years
Freaking
ago.
4 or 5 years later, still relevant.
It's still so catchy.
So, anyways,
So Baloo comes out,
animated.
and he's dancing.
so good until they realize Baloo, like, I think Baloo's,
He's a bear.
he's like dancing so hard, and he's like, shabow, shabow, bow,
His
bow,
hula
bow.
skirt is coming off. Goodness gracious!
And then
man.
he's like, oh boy. And then they go on their little monkey fight, you know. But
Pandemonium ensues.
it is just so freaking funny. And in the live action,
A very similar scene plays out, right?
um,
Monkeys kidnap Mowgli. He goes up to
is
the
it
thing,
similar?
and then he
I-
is introduced to King Louie.
Okay.
Very much enjoy though. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Back it up. Because I'm going to talk about how much I don't enjoy the next part.
Okay.
Okay.
I very much enjoy and laughed very gutturally at Bagheera and
Baloo.
climbing the cliff up
Yeah.
to the ancient ruins. Oh my god, because Bagheera's a panther, and
Right.
panthers can
Can
like
climb.
slither
Climb.
and climb and
Sure.
stuff, and he's lanky, so he
Mhm.
can like jump
He's
well.
long. Yeah.
But
Baloo.
Baloo climbing up
man.
the freaking
He's
mountain.
he. First of all, he's scared of heights. He's like, "Oh no, that's really high. I don't know if I can do all
My
that."
favorite part when he's like, "Oh no, there's birds. That's a bad sign."
I was dying.
And he's like starfished on the side of the mountain, just like
it's very funny. You're right.
I just love. I don't know why, but I think it's because it's Bill Murray. Like it's just so funny.
I think Bill Murray, he's doing a really good job as his own interpretation of Baloo. As I said, the extortion is part of it, but then also this kind of scaredy cat part of
Yeah.
it is really, really funny to me. But yeah, eventually, I don't know how, but Baloo makes it all the way up that cliff.
I have no idea,
Holy
but
moly,
once
Bagheera's
they
a good
get to
coach.
the top, Bagheera's out there like, let's do this. We're gonna do this, and Baloo's like, we on a level playing ground now. Like, bro, I'm going in first. We doing it my way. Like, I don't need you to tell me nothing about nothing. Bye.
It was very funny.
That
Oh,
was hilarious.
cute.
The
It
ancient
was very-
ruins are.
But I don't like the rest.
Well, yeah, the rest.
So the ancient ruins, they're much scarier in the live action version, right?
Yeah.
It's much
The
more.
monkeys are freakier too.
It's much more foreboding.
There's
yeah.
so many monkeys up there.
I mean, they've taken this whole place over. You know, this is where all the monkeys in this jungle live. So they.
In
That's
these
some like
rooms.
Jumanji type crap,
Yep.
man.
Yeah, I mean, so Mowgli, he's walking in. The monkeys are like ushering behind him to push him forward and deeper into the ruins. He meets King Louie. And King Louie is like a 17-foot tall, gigantopithecus
Stupid.
orangutan,
Stupid.
voiced by Christopher Walken.
Stupid.
And
I hate it so much.
so when it's
wait. Can I say what I hate the most?
Go ahead.
That there was little monkeys in his arms, like grooming him and
Yeah.
stuff.
He's super furry. Yeah.
I hated that so
they're
much.
just grooming. You know, if you could
There
have,
didn't need to be little monkeys
if
on
you
the
could have
monkey.
a tiny little doll-sized baby in your hair all times, just picking
Shut
everything out.
I think
Shut
I
your
almost
mouth.
punched you in the face when
it's
you
got
touched my
It's
head.
got a
your
tiny
mouth
little
and
Michelle
shut it.
head.
I
on it,
almost punched you so hard
it's like-
because that is just. Try it again, and see what happens.
Absolutely not.
Try it again. Do it one more time. I
She's over
dare
here
you.
making Shere Khan threats.
I dare you. Freaking do it. I don't like that at all.
No.
And so it was
That's
freaking me
disgusting.
out. And they were like hiding in him. And then at one time, he like picks up the monkey off him and like throws it, like flicks it off. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't like it.
Sometimes they're doing too much. It's like, hey, man, chill out. I don't need to be groomed this much. Ping, ping.
What?
Picks it away.
Ping, ping.
So the Christopher Walken part of it, like
No.
at first he starts talking, and I'm like, okay,
And
this
he should
isn't-
stop
This isn't a
talking.
bad choice for King Louie. I can see where they decided to go with this. The animated King Louie is a very jazzy type of dude, and Christopher Walken is talking in this hotshot New York accent or whatever as a monkey in the jungle, and it's like, okay, this is kind of funny. But then the song starts, and he starts like talk singing
Stop
the
it.
the I want to be like you song, and it's just so off-putting.
It just doesn't flow in any way.
Exactly.
And he may have been directed to do this, but he makes a huge emphasis on the you ooh ooh, like
You ooh.
like it's like the monkey part, but it's also I just don't like any of it.
You know what I almost think? I almost think that he wasn't directed to do this, and that when Jon Favreau hired Christopher Walken, it's like, all right, Christopher Walken, you're the man. You do what you want to do. You're
do
King
your-
Louie, and I know you can't sing at all, but just do your
They could
best
have
or
picked
whatever.
anyone else.
They could have
Anyone.
picked someone else, but they picked this
Anyone.
guy.
They could have
and-
picked John Travolta. I mean, I don't
Right,
know.
exactly.
You could have picked really anybody else.
You could have put anybody in there.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Nobody said anything about Tom Cruise. They could have not picked Tom Cruise. But like Christopher Walken just has that. I feel like when you hire somebody like that, you know what you're getting.
Sure.
So like
Yeah. And I think they
they
knew.
obviously wanted it, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
But yeah, I don't think
Need
it.
it.
I don't think it turned out the way that they necessarily wanted it to turn out, because it's really, the song is really off-putting, especially in comparison to the animated version where the song is a straight bop. It's awesome. I love it. I want to be like you. It's a fantastic song. And in this version where they're definitely doing a toned down version of all the songs, right? But still to have it be so different and almost not even like a sing-songy song.
I can't even talk about it because it upset me so much. And I think the reason I hated it so much is because I was kind of sleepy in the first one, and I was liking bits and pieces while I was in and out. But as soon as I saw that giant monkey, I said, no.
Well, so and that's the other part is that he is not visually appealing. in the
No,
least.
at all.
So when he pops onto screen, it's like, wow, he is way too big. I think everyone across the board can agree that like his size and the way that his face looks is very off-putting.
It's like
it didn't work.
if King Kong was an orangutan. You know,
Yeah.
it's just so much.
and
Like,
then they took the words to the song and changed like the
and
Sherman
changed
Brothers.
it.
oh yeah, they
words.
added
You
a
don't
whole
change
other.
no Sherman
They added a whole
Brothers.
nother verse.
They
too.
added everything to put in Gigantopithecus
Because
twice.
Oh.
they wanted
So
to
that we
prove
know.
that that's what he is. But like whoever decided to change Sherman Brother lyrics should be fired because the Sherman Brothers are genius, and I didn't need no Gigantopithecus.
So, little is known about the mysterious Gigantopithecus, but it is a distant relative to orangutans, and they stood up to 10 feet tall
Okay.
and weighed up to 595 pounds.
Okay.
Now, I don't know much about
That was still more
everything,
than 10
but he
feet.
was way bigger than 10 feet.
Right.
That was
And
way
he weighed
bigger.
way more.
A
than
gorilla is
595 pounds.
probably I bet some gorillas are 10 feet. Like gorillas are really big, but like that was not what that was. That thing was like 50 feet tall.
I think I would have appreciated it like way more. He still could have been even a fairly big orangutan.
Like, even if he was like a Yeti size.
right.
Like, he was
Mhm.
just
Like
too-
I think it was just too big. And I think that honestly, if he's more human size, it actually makes more sense that he wants to acquire like the red flower or whatever and be like a human.
Yeah.
Because he's already so close, you know. But this, having him be a Gigantopithecus, it overblows it, and I can't even tell you what exactly is wrong
And
with
the-
it. But
and
it,
the
it
back-
doesn't seem right.
And the background monkeys weren't funny like how in the animated, and they ruined the song 100% to me. Where I was like, if you were just gonna go this route and make a giant monkey, you could have just made him a scary giant monkey, and that was it. Like, you know, the scene where he's like blasting through the runes and like trying to find Mowgli.
Yes.
Then they should have just made him like that the whole scene. I didn't need him
Right.
singing. I didn't need any of that. The weird monkeys in the background.
That's another weird thing. Yeah, that like so the elephants didn't have language, but they were all majestic and stuff. But the monkeys,
Don't either.
none of them speak except for King Louie,
Mm-hmm.
and that's odd to me. Like, it's not like the monkeys in the animated version they all had a bunch of lines or whatever, but obviously they were all musical and they were all hanging out and they were chilling or whatever.
They were just funny.
But to throw that language thing in and showcase that most of these monkeys don't talk, but this one does, it's weird. It's a weird choice, in my opinion. Like,
I agree.
they even could have just had all the monkeys in the background be like, yeah, get them, yeah, give us the red
Yeah.
flower, and you know, it
The
doesn't have to be
monkeys were
anything
just
specific.
acting weird. They're like, "Bleh," I didn't like it.
Yeah.
They were just acting like monkeys.
I mean, I guess they were kind of like, hive mindy. They were all just following the rules of King Louie or whatever. So eventually, Baloo and Bagheera, they do show up. Baloo goes in to distract, as he does in the animated version, but this time no hula skirt, no monkey business. He just goes in there and just starts talking. What is he saying? He's like, hey guys, what's going on?
He's like, it reminds me of oh god, what other movie did that? Where he's like, you're just so large, and I just was. Oh, it reminds me of The Hobbit, where what's his name? Bilbo goes in to see Smaug the first time,
Oh, okay.
and he's like, you are just so
Yeah.
large. I just had
Yeah.
to come in here and see you,
That's right.
Smaug the Tyrannical. Like, but he's
Aw,
like,
yeah.
Gotta go check
he's
you
like-
out, man. I'm honored to be in your presence. This is amazing. I love
like
it.
So
King
good.
Louie, you are so
Yes.
big.
He just goes on and he waxes poetic about King Louie and the ruins. He's like, this is a wonderful place you got here. I can't believe how nice it looks. I really love what you've done with the place.
I'm just so happy to be here.
Yeah, and so he just
Can I
talks.
be a monkey?
He just talks for long enough for Bagheera to show up and usher Mowgli away. But they get discovered, and then the terror reigns, and this Gigantopithecus, he starts whomping everything around and knocking stuff over and looking for Mowgli.
And we gotta move on from it. 'Cause
Give me
I
that
hate
red
it.
flower.
I hate it.
So
but-
apparently there's two big, well, there's one Easter egg in this, and the other one is more of like an homage.
Okay.
But they say that
there.
the peoples are saying that King Louie has a huge Godfather
Oh.
Marlon Brando feel
Okay, yes.
to him. So like when you first come into the monkey temple, you know, he's like shrouded in darkness,
Mhm.
and it's like, welcome to my home,
Yeah.
and like, if you do this for me, I can do all of these things for
Right.
you,
That makes sense.
and I can offer you protection and all this stuff.
Wedding, and you ask me for some fire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the homage piece, but in the live action, we see that in and among Louie's treasures in his temple,
Uh-huh.
I guess there's two different things. You see a lamp that looks like Genie's lamp from
Oh,
Aladdin,
That's cool.
and then there's also a cowbell that Mowgli picks up.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, I didn't even think about it until just now. Like, I remember seeing it last night when we were watching it.
Uh-huh.
And when you just said the word cowbell,
Do you wanna go
No,
ahead
what's
and
it
explain
supposed to
please?
be?
so there's an SNL sketch, a very, very famous SNL sketch where Christopher Walken is the host. And he's doing a sketch where he's got a band together. I'm not sure if it's like Led Zeppelin or it's supposed to be somebody famous. And they're playing a song, and Christopher Walken is playing like the band manager or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Will Ferrell is there as well, by the way. And he's like,
I love Wolf.
I don't know what it is about this song, but I think it needs more. You got to give it more cowbell. And so
What?
Will Ferrell picks up the cowbell. And he's just
He's
like,
supposed to be the
ting,
record
ting, ting,
producer,
ting, ting,
and he's
ting,
like,
ting, ting.
Can you show me this later?
So
Because
he's-
I love Will
so
Ferrell.
Yes.
he's supposed to be giving more cowbell. So then, like,
More cowbell.
so the cowbell is in the scene as supposed to be like homage to the
To,
SNL
That's
to
sketch.
funny.
Christopher Walken. That's
I was kind of
very
wondering
funny.
why he was shaking that cowbell. I was like, huh.
Guys, what's the deal?
Are you sure that was sounding okay?
I'll be honest, fellas, it was sounding great, but I could have used a little more cowbell.
Well, I kind of liked when Mowgli was walking through these ancient ruins because it's the first time he's ever seen like man-made structures, right? So he's looking at statues on the wall. He's going like, "What in the world is all of this? This is crazy." He's looking at the pots on the ground, and then he picks up the cowbell and he's playing with it and stuff like that. He's like, "How does this work? I'm an engineer. I need to know how everything works." So yeah, that's all cool.
And they escaped the monkeys.
I'm gonna have to add in some more cowbell audio to this.
And they
this part of it.
escaped the monkeys.
And then they escape the monkeys.
And we're done.
Yes, they get
Thank
out
you.
They get out of there. King Louie is never to be seen again.
Thank God.
You probably never watched Planet of the Apes
Oh, dude.
with
Planet
the
of the
man
Apes.
Frank
It's dope.
to the O.
Did you guys know that King Louie was not a character in the original Rudyard Kipling book,
Oh, really?
The Jungle Book?
That's interesting.
But he was obviously a huge part of the animated version, and therefore was a large part in this movie as well. But I just thought that was really interesting that he was not in the book.
Right.
So he was an addition to the animated version.
The Rudyard Kipling book, by the way, came out in 1894.
Jeez.
Which is a long time ago. It's like one of the it's in the public domain, which is why so many
Yeah, exactly. Because it's such a it's an
come out.
iconic.
Right.
And
It's like Sherlock Holmes.
golden era of novels.
Yes, exactly. It's an old school franchise, which is
Wait,
pretty
did
cool.
you say 1864?
1894.
Oh, about to no, never mind. Yeah.
It's really interesting because I was reading up on like Walt Disney's take on the original script that came out for the animated version, and he apparently like hated it, the first version, and was like, it's too dark. He thought this music was too dark. He just didn't like the version it was going with, and it was much closer at that point to the Kipling book. And he was like, it needs to be way more lighthearted.
Whimsical.
And so they brought in an entire new team for rewrites. So I wonder if that's where like King Louie came from to try to lighten up the whole thing.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
There was also like a rhino character that was supposed to be in the original movie that got cut out. Because Walt thought there was then too much lightheartedness happening, like too many comedic scenes back to back to back to back. So they cut out the rhino character completely.
Yeah, Walt was like so very specific about how he wanted
Oh,
his movies done, you know? But I appreciate that because I really like the Jungle Book animated, which is so interesting because it's not one I watched a lot as a kid. I think I watched it for the first, remember watching it one of the first times with you. I know I've seen
Probably
it as a
before
kid,
we
but
saw the
a first time I like
action.
fully remembered the whole movie.
Yeah, the Jungle Book has like a deep lore. Like I think there was a Jungle Book TV show or cartoon that kind of explored all the relationships of the animals before Mowgli shows up. It's like Bagheera, how he met Baloo, and how they know Shere Khan, and all this kind of stuff. I'm not sure if that's Jungle Book 2 or if that was the
Well, there
the
is a Jungle
animated
Book
show.
2, but I don't know it. But let's get on with our story. So at this point,
We've
Mowgli
escaped the monkeys.
has been saved from the monkeys in the animated version. And Mowgli is still like mad, right?
Yeah.
So he runs like from the ruins. Okay, so he runs from being saved, and he runs all the way to seemingly the end
Pride
of the
Rock?
jungle,
Right, yeah.
basically, where
the elephant graveyard.
yeah.
It feels like.
During the
yeah,
drought.
it almost does feel like the elephant graveyard, right? Where it cuts to a scene where we just see 4 vultures on a tree. And I think this is one of Andre's favorite parts of
Which
the movie.
archetypally is so funny for his fate.
Yes.
For Mowgli's fate. You know, we know that vultures in real life.
Yeah.
But like in movies and in writing
symbolizes
symbolize death and decay, and they start circling.
Poor
and you're-
vultures.
Like,
It's
oh,
not
yeah.
their fault.
I know.
Oh, hey, fresh meat. Hopefully it becomes dead meat.
Oh,
soon.
I've 110% seen like 3 vultures going at it on some roadkill before.
Oh, yeah.
And I go, especially where we live, and I just was like, oh my god, they are very scary looking, but that's just their saying. It's not their fault. But
They're
these
just drawn
vultures,
that way.
these
They're
vultures,
not fast enough to be catching live stuff. You know, we gotta stop it when it's done already.
These
you know?
4 vultures are the Beatles.
Hello, it's us, The Birdles.
The Birdles.
Birdles.
The vultures.
Hey, Paul, what you want to do today? I don't know, George.
What you want
How
to do
about you?
today?
I don't know.
That was very funny.
They're
So
just sitting up there
good.
chilling. But they accept him as an outcast, which is cool. They sing a little song. What's that song called?
That's what friends are
That's
for.
what friends
Friends
are
are
for. Yeah, that's when Shere Khan arrives, and this is kind of like his first big scene in the animated, where he reveals himself to Mowgli. He's like, "I know who you are. I know what you've been doing. You've been hanging out in my jungle. It's time for you to get gone." And because
And it's like pretty intense.
yeah, because lightning strikes like a tree, sets the whole area ablaze, and then Shere Khan is trying to attack, and the vultures swoop in because they're friends now, and then Mowgli gets a big old flaming branch, and he smacks that fool right in the face, like bow.
And Shere Khan
Wow.
just runs away.
And Shere Khan is like, okay, well, bye. Oh, that's right. The branch also gets tied to his tail, and so he's just got
Yeah, they tied the branch to his
fire
tail.
chasing him forever, and he hightails
gone.
it out of there. Yeah.
It's a much more light-hearted, but also still pretty scary
Yeah, pretty
for the
fairly intense.
animated. But our live action, it's on another level.
The third act of the live action is
way longer.
It's pretty
than
insane.
This.
Yes, it is. It is much longer. At one point, Mowgli, he goes to the man village, right? He requires
Well, he's so mad still. Well, he's mad at them because after he, the Gigantopithecus tells Mowgli
I love that you can remember that word.
that Akila's dead.
right. Yes.
So he's like, I'm going to go back to Akila, and Akila's going to protect me. I don't need you to protect me, Gigantopithecus. And
It's like, oh, you didn't hear.
he's like, oh, you didn't hear? He's dead because of you. So that really pisses him off. So he runs after the whole thing goes down. He confronts Bagheera and Baloo, and he's like, you guys know, and you didn't tell me, and
You liars.
I gotta do something. You're not even doing anything. So he runs to the man village, gets the red flower,
He grabs
and
a torch.
runs seemingly like 30 miles back
Yeah.
across the jungle.
Haphazardly
All
across
the
jungle.
while setting it ablaze.
Yeah,
right? 'Cause
it's like,
he's running with the red flower.
Yikes, Mowgli! Don't
Yeah.
do that. Yeah. So he sets the jungle on fire, straight up.
An
Uh,
eagle
he's
sees
a
what's
fire
happening and warns everybody, like, the red flower's coming, man's coming. And so the wolves and everybody, they, like, go to the river because they want to be by the water, right? And they're
the
like,
fire can't get
man's coming, man's coming. And he runs over, and they're like, it's Mowgli.
Like, Mowgli,
And they're scared of Mowgli because Shere
Right.
Khan comes in, and he's like, look what you did. And, like, he looks behind him, and the forest is ablaze.
Oh snap!
And
I
even
didn't
like
mean to.
Gray, like the little brother wolf, is like,
They're all scared of him because he's holding fire.
because he's holding the red flower, and they have no defense against
right,
that.
they have no recourse against the flames.
And so Shere Khan is like, you're evil. Look at this. You deserve this fate. I told you
The
guys
man
he
cub
was
is
gonna
now
be
a
a man.
man.
Yeah, all of this stuff. And Mowgli throws the fire into the water.
Right, he's like, I'm Mowgli. I'm of the jungle. I belong in the jungle. I'm gonna stay in the jungle. I don't need this fire. Wow! And it's like,
Yeah.
oh well, now you have no claws, no teeth, no fur. You're dead.
Dude, you're such a good Idris. I love Shere Khan's
And
voice.
Shere Khan, he straight up attacks. It's a long, drawn out fight scene, basically, where
The wolves are attacking, and Baloo is
yes,
attacking.
they all step
and
up to
Bagheera.
protect Mowgli, and they're all fighting and stuff like that. And Mowgli's running up into the trees and trying to get away, and Shere Khan's chasing him up through the trees. Meanwhile, the fire is engulfing them all below, underneath, and at the climax, Shere Khan he's up in a tree as Mowgli like crawls away, and Shere Khan's like, you're dead, man. It's either I'm gonna get you or the fire's gonna get you. One way or another. It's only a matter of time. And and Mowgli, he does a cool move. He jumps from the tree to a vine, George of the Jungle style, swings away.
Uses a trick.
Yes, he uses one of his
Tricksies.
tricks. Your secrets. It is not the wolf way, but that's how he gets away. And Shere Khan, he tries to leap for him. He misses, obviously, and then
Dead.
he falls to his fiery
just
death.
like Mufasa.
Yes.
And
yeah.
the most legit part is after this, they're like waiting for them outside the fire. Like all the animals, they're just like, have hope. Maybe of course they're not going to go back in the fire, and they're all kind of beat up right now. Like they literally can't even move. Like Baloo looks like crap.
They all
And
got jacked up.
freaking Mowgli like right straight up mobs up on the back of an elephant, just like, what up, homies?
What's happening? It's me. And the elephants do one of the coolest things in the movies because when the whole jungle is on fire, I'm like, Mowgli, you destroyed everybody's house, man. Everybody, all the animals is gone. And then the when he rides up on the elephants all divert power from the river, divert water, and make it spread over everything that has been caught on fire.
Well, and they like knock down trees.
Yes,
to
they knock
create
down some trees.
What do you call that?
Like some
barriers,
inlets and barriers and dams and stuff like that, just to move the water around.
Basically, what they told us about the elephants at the beginning, and it doesn't
They
seem like the
created
elephants
rivers.
would really care about this because why would they? But
Well,
Mowgli's
they
like
live
pretty
there
special.
too, you know. And even
Yeah.
though they just hang out in the plains,
Which and
mostly,
we missed that part. I don't even know like where it happened. It was when he was still with Bagheera and Baloo at some point, but there was like a huge pit
yes,
that
the baby elephant fell into.
I don't know. It kind of felt like it was man-made, but maybe not.
I don't know.
So there was like a huge pit, and the baby elephant had fallen into the hole. So this, I think, was like the switch out. So because there was no pachyderm parade,
Yeah.
this is like the switch
This
out
is
for
the elephant scene.
And Mowgli uses all of his trixies to go and save the baby elephant and
Creates
hoist him
a pulley
out.
system to pull the elephant out. When it's really cool. I'm like, oh snap, we just saved that elephant. Because otherwise, without any man cub here, that's a dead baby elephant for sure. Like the elephants were not able to get down in there.
They're too big
to rescue him. Exactly.
So baby elephant gets out, he saves him, and they remember, and they come back and save him later.
They remember. Elephants never forget. You know.
Boom.
I think they say that in the animated version. Don't forget. An elephant always remembers.
I know. So silly. So this is where I think one of the biggest differences in the movie comes is the ending. So in our animated version at this point, the day is over, it is saved. And Bagheera's like, look, there's the man village, right? And Mowgli sees a girl in the fetching water.
Well, he's all ready to stay in the jungle. He's like, Shere Khan's gone. I don't have to leave. Everything's cool. I can hang out with y'all, and we'll be friends forever or whatever. And then he sees a girl who's like his age, and he's like, boing, what's that over there?
Don't do that.
Ding, 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 ding.
No.
I found my new home, and it's with her. Let's go.
I'm fetching some water.
Oh yeah, and then she scams him pretty hard.
Dude, she straight up scams him.
She goes, she's singing.
And Bagheera's so excited. He's like, look. And Baloo's like, no, Mowgli. What is that?
Mowgli, don't go.
No, go. Don't do it. Don't do it.
And Bagheera's like, nah, you gotta do it.
Yeah, he's gotta go.
People. And I think Bagheera's like, that's the way. Like, this is what happens, man. Yeah.
That's the way love goes.
Well, and it's funny because when this movie started, the animated version, it popped up with the disclaimer. Like,
that's right.
Yeah, it did.
It popped up saying, like, this movie has outdated cultural references. And
which it does.
Blah, blah, blah. And it does, but I was kind of waiting I felt it a couple times. But then I was waiting for it to be a little bit more outward.
Right.
Yeah,
but
because considering, like, other stuff we've watched from Disney.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you listen to her song, it was like, ooh, like, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just go around. I get the water. I cook
the
the food. When I grow up, I'm gonna
cooking
cook in the house. I'll be
kitchen.
in the kitchen, and then I'll have a husband. He'll be doing whatever husbands do, and I'm gonna just be a housewife, housewife for life. You know me. I'm a lady.
Hey.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah. So Mowgli goes.
either way, she
gets himself a wife.
She hecka swindled him in there. She I think at one point she accidentally drops the water off her head.
Oops,
it's like,
my water.
And Baloo was like, oh, she did that on purpose. And Bagheera's like, yeah.
And look who falls for it.
And he keeps looking back at them like, should I go? And Baloo's like, come on, Mowgli. Come on, come back. And he looks at Baloo and he looks at the girl and he's like, peace out. Basically.
I gotta go, dude.
And I remember like
you a bear, bro.
watching this and being like, that is so freaking hilarious. And then just
it's like every time my dog gets distracted by a girl dog when I'm taking him for a walk, I'm like, no.
You don't need to sniff her butt.
You ain't ready for that yet. Come on, let's go.
It's hilarious. And that's basically how it ends. Like, he's back in the village where he's supposed to be.
Yes, in the animated version.
But I just think that's a funny ending for some reason.
It's very
because
funny.
it was like all this work to stay in the jungle. Shere Khan's gone, but oh, homie, there's a girl over there.
Oh, never mind. We talked about it. I just kind of forgot for a second how Shere Khan gets got in
the fire. They attach it to his
fire
tail on the
attached to
twig,
his
and he
tail,
just
yeah.
runs away. He doesn't die, or we don't know. We're
think he
assuming
It's not as dramatic.
we're just assuming he's defeated.
Yeah.
Right.
Like he's not going to come back because he's afraid of the fire. But in this one, I mean, in the live action, Shere Khan is dead, and
He's
he
toast, literally.
he's staying in the forest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mowgli is staying in the forest.
Mowgli is staying in the forest.
We see at the end there's a montage of him. He's running through the trees and he's training all the wolf cubs. He's like, "You gotta go high. I'm going high." Bagheera's like, "You never listen." And then he beats all of the wolves in this little foot race drill that they're doing. And he goes back to the wolf pack and they're all hanging out and then they recite the wolf way or whatever the
and
chant
Baloo
is.
is trying to do it too, and he's hecka slow.
Baloo freaking in the tree. It's all
I
like
just
in
got
a
up
break.
into this tree. I hope y'all ain't leaving because I just got here. Oh god, it's very
That
funny.
was so cute.
Yeah, and then that's the end of the live action version, and then we get
Ew,
the
stupid.
credit song of "Whoa Be Whoa, I Want to Be Like Yui Whoa."
Ew, please stop. I'm
You're
gonna
doing
throw
a good,
up.
awful job.
I'm gonna throw up, literally.
So there was a couple things about this movie that I really, really liked.
Which one?
The live action.
Mhm.
Okay.
So because it wasn't plot driven, I didn't feel it pertinent yet to talk about. But I really liked the opening to the movie. Oh my god, so cool!
Really?
So
Beautiful too. I like that song. It was the same song in both the animated and the live action. The opening song, where it was very like jungly. I felt like I was in Adventureland. Like
exactly,
it was so good.
And when it opened, it was completely redone. It didn't feel like a normal live action. You could tell it was special.
It was really cool.
And then it like faded back away from the castle into the jungle.
It flowed through the river that goes from the castle and just goes directly into the jungle of this movie, which is a really cool
I just freaking
filmic
loved that.
touch.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool because, especially in the time period when the animated version came out, almost every movie that came out animated wise started with the storybook,
Yes.
the book opening. And so this one did as well. It opened with the book. And it was cool that the live action did not start that way, but it ended that way.
Right, it did close the book.
So it closed with the book. I thought that was
I like
really
the
cool.
books. I like that.
the Jungle Book.
Not so much though that Christopher Walken was.
And they had Scarlett Johansson sing for way too long on the credits too. I was,
Was
like,
that actually her? I don't know.
I think it
didn't,
was,
I didn't
babe.
look it up, but it sounded a little auto-tuned to me. So
yeah, but I think it's her.
Yeah, it probably is.
So let's talk about the Ashmanis.
Shmonies. Let's see. I got them both up here. The holy schmoly. Okay, I hadn't looked at this until right now. The
Which one?
animated version of The Jungle Book had a budget of $4 million.
That's it?
Okay. Small budget. It's an animated movie in the
Very
60s, you
small
know.
budget.
And it had a box office return of $378 million.
Oh my
Now,
gosh!
hang on, I'm just
Can
checking.
you imagine?
I'm just checking to see if that's over its entire run or if that was just its initial run. Yes, it was re-released several times in 1978, 1984, and 1990. You know, these movies that are released before VHS tapes existed, right? They have to just put them out in theaters again.
I don't
if
care.
anybody
Either
ever
way,
wants to
that's
watch them again.
so much more money
So
than
that-
$4 million.
That's how it raked in that much money. But I mean, it's still it's a box office boom. I believe its initial success was $11.5 million in the first year,
That's
which is
still amazing.
still awesome for a $4 million movie. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And
Live action.
let me find the live action here. One second. The live action.
Okay, let me read you something about the book because I did read some stuff about Jon Favreau's
His interpretation.
thoughts. He said that he noticed that the Jungle Book starts with the real book on a blue velvet opening, on blue velvet opening up, and then there's a drawing, and you push into the drawing and it becomes the cartoon, but the book never closes. So my fantasy was to close the book. So I talked to Disney and said, can we find the book? And they said, well, it might be in the archives. And I was like, well, please try to find it. And they dug it up. They found the leather-bound book from the movie, but they said you can't touch it. Somebody showed up holding it with white gloves. Nobody could handle it.
Oh.
We had to set up and match the table exactly. So the end of the movie, we freeze on the frame. It goes to a drawing. And in order to capture the effect of the book bouncing along with Christopher Walken singing and then opening up, they had to do a whole bunch of serious effects to make the book look like it was moving. So apparently there was the archivist with a broom handle under the table bouncing the book up and down. And then once it opens, it goes back to the digital and the page flips with little vignettes from the movie. And yeah, so it was like super like covert because they had to have like the archivist there. And
That's
they
really
couldn't touch
cool.
the books and stuff.
This particular book, it was the ultimate pristine version of the book that they used in the animated movie.
Yes.
What they filmed
Yes.
for that. Okay, and that's why
For
it was
the
so
opening of
preserved. It wasn't just like a copy of the
No.
Jungle
no,
Book.
it was
from
like the
1894.
pristine
It was a movie prop.
version from
Gotcha,
the original.
from the original animated version.
in
Okay,
67.
that's very cool. Holy moly! I'm picturing a dude with a broomstick,
Right?
jostling.
Can you
this
imagine just like
Very expensive book.
I'm gonna put a spoop, spoop, spoop.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so the live action, it had a budget of $175 million, a pretty sizable budget, but it had a box office return worldwide of $966 million.
Wow.
Holy moly.
Just about a bill, baby.
All right.
That's just about
Where's
a bill.
the tomatoes?
Okay, on the tomato meter, the animated version. On the tomato meter, it has a tomato score of 88%.
Hold on, which one?
The
Animated.
animated.
Okay.
Critic
88%.
consensus.
Critics' consensus says, with expressive animation, fun characters, and catchy songs, The Jungle Book endures as a crowd-pleasing Disney classic.
Agree.
The live action, wow, it has a tomato meter score of 94%.
Whoa.
Okay, audience score of 86%. Critics'
Because
consensus.
of the stupid monkey.
Critics' consensus, as lovely to behold as it is engrossing to watch, The Jungle Book is the rare remake that actually improves upon its predecessors, all while setting a new standard for CGI.
Yes, the
yeah.
CGI
I
was
think that's the most
absolutely
incredible
beautiful.
thing of this whole movie is that it was completely shot
like
in
CGI,
one place.
except for
Right.
Mowgli.
Except for Mowgli.
Yes.
And that they had to use like shadows and projections
Mhm.
so that cute little Neil Sethi, who played Mowgli,
He did so
he was
good.
great.
he was amazing.
He was a
fantastic.
perfect Mowgli.
He literally captured the essence of this animated character with nothing around him other than
just his personality.
his
And
personality.
no
And
clothes on.
Yeah,
Little
like,
homie is just
Dude,
running
I kept
around.
telling Andre, I said, as this movie goes on, they're just like throw more dirt on him. Like, here you
Oh,
go.
Oh yeah, and gets
Here's
more
up.
scarred up and all kinds of bruises and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does fantastic. But yes, the animation of the live action animals in this is really, really good.
Which
Almost all the way
which
through.
upset me when we went to Lion King and they didn't do as well as this.
Well, I think they
In
tried
my opinion.
a different method. I think that the environments are all still super duper beautiful in the Lion King, but what they were doing with the faces to make the animals talk, I think was different than what they did here, and it didn't
Didn't like it.
necessarily pan out quite as well.
We'll watch that one day. I just
well,
don't
we
really
equally
want to.
didn't love like Lady and the Tramp's faces.
Right, exactly.
True, very true. That was lower budget though.
That's true.
Mm.
Their CGI is hit or miss, but Jon Favreau,
Gorgeous in
he
this.
did like create this new technology for capturing CGI and in a live action style, you know, and that's what got him hired for The Lion King and what got him hired for The Mandalorian, which he's using all of these techniques to create the CGI for those movies
Yeah.
and shows. Quite cool.
So Luis is taking a nippy nap, but I'll wake him up so he can write. Animated, Luis. What are you gonna give
Oh,
the
look at
animated?
those eyes. Those are angry eyes.
9 each. They're both really good.
Oh,
2 nines.
2 nines.
9.
2 nines.
9. Andre.
Okay. I think I'm gonna give a 9 to the animated version and an 8 to the live action version. I think that the animated it's one of the better classics and probably one of the ones I've seen the most. Like I watch it more than Robin Hood and Sleeping Beauty. I watch it more than all of those movies, and it's really really funny. I really like how funny it is, and I like the concept of boy hanging out in the jungle. The live action is similarly good, but it gets a lower score for the detractors that we've talked about. The big King Louie, the lack of songs, and what else didn't I like?
I didn't like.
I guess that's basically it.
Yeah.
I have the exact same scores.
I have the exact same scores too.
9 and 8.
9 and 8.
It's 9 and 8, just because the animated is so freaking fun. I'm gonna go back to this animated more, I think, because I just so thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it
I
felt
rewatched this.
so good in my soul. I just want to go back and watch the King Louie song so bad.
Well, and I think I just miss Disneyland so much that when you listen to just like the background music,
it was
the
so
score just
good.
makes me want to be
Like
in
I said,
Adventureland.
I
like
felt like I was in
my little
Adventureland.
shoulders are going like I want to
Where's
get on
my
the Jungle
Dole
Cruise,
Whip?
you know,
Yeah.
or go in the tiki room.
Tiki
or something.
room and to eat my Dole Whip and get some Bengal barbecue.
Ooh, Bengal barbecue.
Bacon covered asparagus.
So good.
So good. Yeah, I agree with you, Emily. I'm also doing a 9 and an 8. I mean, if you guys had asked me last week, I would have said that Jungle Book is terrible,
Right.
the live action, and I like it, but King Louie has to go. So I just have to ignore that part. The rest of it's fine.
Yeah. Exactly.
Except for Caw.
Yeah, Caw could have been better, or at least in it more.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
It was so, lackluster.
I mean, most of her scene is the vision
Yeah.
of,
they just used her for that,
old daddy.
I
I just realized that Shere Khan killed 2 of Mowgli's dads. He killed the man dad and the wolf dad.
Yeah.
Dude,
Dang.
I love Shere Khan, though. That was so good. Idris Elba, some of your best
Good
That's why he had
Lord.
to go.
voice work, dude.
Yeah, man, he really killed it. I think he's the star of the show, basically. But once again, the kid
so
who played
is
Mowgli
like,
was
Oh
awesome.
my
His,
And so
his
is
timing is good, and he's like
Bagheera.
9-10 years old or something like
You know
that. 12 max.
Wait, Bagheera is
Ben Kingsley.
yeah.
Yes,
And then Aquila is the guy from The Mandalorian, right?
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
Yes, mm-hmm.
And also from Breaking Bad.
Yes,
Mhm.
gotta bring
I
that.
love that dude.
And then the mom, Raksha. She was Raksha. Yes, she was played by Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah. It was a good cast.
Yeah.
Stacked. I mean, so was the animated though, so.
Right.
All right.
Oh,
Emily, you want to say what we're doing next week?
I want to be like you. Ooh, ooh. Yes, I do. Because
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Ooh, ooh. I kind of chose this one for us. we decided that we're going to do cheetah chickens.
We wanted to
Cheetah chickens.
wanted to continue with the jungle animal theme, and so we decided to go
We're doing
with
cheetah chickens.
the Cheetah Girls
The
from
Cheetah Girls.
2003 on the Disney Channel.
Well, so
Is it a Disney Channel original?
it's
It's
a
a
Disney Channel original,
original,
yeah.
yes.
It's just like one of the more well-known ones, So the reason we say cheetah chickens, and that can be your hint for the week after next week's movie, it has something to do with the chicken. So that's the order of the movies. The cheetah chickens, yeah.
Cheetah Chickens. Anyway, next
Cheetah
week we're doing
girls,
the Cheetah Girls.
sisters.
That's right. So join us. Get your R&B
Ooh.
hats ready. Your cheetah bandanas.
I don't want to be no Cinderella
Oh,
sitting in
snap.
the dark
Good
dusty
God,
cellar.
there's a lot happening
Wait
right
for
now.
the girl.
Shows moving her hips a
Come and
lot
set
right
me
now.
free.
I really wish I was recording that.
Also, their clothes were dope. Can't wait.
Yeah, they got the matching outfits.
Mhm.
So please join us next week to watch the Cheetah Girls.
Sorry, was I that bad? Wow.
No,
No,
it was
I
really
swear
good.
I heard the kids singing from the other room. That's why I was like,
'Cause we are sisters.
We stand together.
Louise is gonna be so mad.
He's not gonna watch it. He's not gonna watch it. He's
just
asleep
sleeping
right
on the
now,
couch
guys.
right now.
We wore him out.
Okay, you guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to keep up with us, head on over to our social media. We are at the Walt Vault Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit us up there. Leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of either or both of the Jungle Books. Which one is your favorite? Which one do you like more? Do you agree with our scores? And what is your score if you recently watched it? Let us know. Put it in the comments down below if you're on YouTube. Hit the like button. Leave a comment on Instagram. Send us an email to contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. Let us know your thoughts and or ask us questions. If you want to keep up with us or help us keep the lights on, make sure you're subscribed on whatever podcast platform you're listening on, or on iTunes and Apple Podcasts, or Stitcher, and Spotify. We're all over the place. YouTube. go there for the video versions. And I think that's it. Oh, patreon.com/the Walt Vault, bonfire.com. That's for our merch. Get yourself
Did anybody
a Walt Vault sweater.
Olaf Louise?
Oh yes, our
Luis.
Olaf Luis picks went out.
Oh,
so
Luis.
hopefully, if you donated to his fund, you now have a picture to put on your mantelpiece for the winter season. And it's Olaf, and he's ready to bathe over you in snow light or whatever. I don't know what I'm saying.
Snow light?
You are talking out of your butt, my friend.
Yeah, my butt's talking.
I just thought of what you said about the little man who lives down the drain.
That's right. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you next week for some Cheetah Girls goodness. The vault is now closed.
One for the master, one. Oh, you can pause it for.